Hello, and welcome back to C.A.R.E.ing Conversations. My name is Diana Flores. I am a sexual assault advocate here at C.A.R.E., and today we have a special guest.
My name is Alyssa Burns. I'm Director of Domestic Violence Programs here at C.A.R.E.
And today we're going to be talking about domestic violence. So we can jump in and you can tell us what domestic violence is.
So domestic violence at its core is about one person trying to control another. And that's usually done through coercion, intimidation, manipulation. The dynamic of domestic violence can be in family relationships with children and parents, but we primarily here at C.A.R.E. focus on intimate partner violence, boyfriends, girlfriends, partners, etc., because that has a bit of a different dynamic to it than family relationships.
And, I think it's very important to speak about what domestic violence is, because I think for a lot of people, when they hear domestic violence and what they consider it is physical abuse.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's all it is, that you have to be hurt or half beaten to death in order for it to be considered domestic violence.
A lot of the clients that we see don't realize that they're in a domestic violence situation. They come in to talk to us because they know something isn't right, but they haven't been physically hurt. But the emotional and verbal and financial abuse is way worse and way more prevalent than actual physical abuse. So they come in and we show them the dynamics and they recognize those components in their relationship.
And we can talk about those dynamics, what the signs are in domestic violence.
The first major sign that I have seen over the years, I've been here for over 15 years, is that the relationship moves very quickly. Even at the point of discomfort for one of the people. They will move in together fast, they will combine their finances quickly, they'll move away from any kind of moral support. It just moves very quickly before they kind of have time to change their minds. Another sign is that the way, like say you're watching your friend and you think they may be in a DV relationship, the way they dress starts to change. Activities and stuff you guys used to go to together, they're canceling. They'll cancel at the last minute. If they are hanging out with you, they're constantly looking at their phone because they have to be available all the time. And obviously there can be physical abuse. If you start seeing bruises or marks on your friend that are unusual, black eyes, we don't usually get that often, bruises in the shape of fingerprints on legs and arms, that can be obviously a big indicator.
And so those signs, some of the signs that you're talking about, I can see in around my generation and the generations coming in. I can see it in the videos that are posted on social media, where someone could be talking about what their significant other did, and then there's comments flooding them, telling them, you know what, that's abuse. It's not okay that he's doing this or that she's doing this. And I think these signs it's very important to talk about them, especially for those generations coming in.
Because you guys have a little bit of a different dynamic than the older generations who started dating before cell phones, before internet and social media. One of the scenarios I have heard quite often is, especially in dating relationships in your generation, that their partner will demand the passwords to their social media, or they will again demand that they start dressing differently. And they do this under the auspice of, I love you so much, and if you trusted me, if you loved me as much as I loved you, you would do this for me. Again, putting them in an uncomfortable situation that they don't like, but they feel like they have to, because otherwise their relationship isn't validated. And it's just manipulation.
Exactly. And talking about today's society, a good question would be, can men be victims of domestic violence?
They can, and they are. We have worked with many men in both heterosexual and homosexual relationships, and there are about 18% of reporting victims, but we also know that they have a much lower reporting rate than female victims, obviously for a variety of reasons that I won't go into, but they are definitely victims and survivors.
Okay. Okay, so another question that I have for you is what resources do we offer to those who need them?
So first and foremost, we ask people to come in and just talk with us. We're kind of doing an assessment, a case management. If they think they're in a domestic violence relationship, but they're not sure, if you have that question, come in and talk to us. We have a lot of information. Our advocates are very educated on the dynamics of domestic violence, and we can work through that. If somebody's looking to get out of that relationship, we have services like looking for housing, jobs, educational opportunities. We do have some great relationships with landlords in the area, so we try to get them connected that way. We have advocates available to go to court if they're looking for a restraining order or if their abuser was arrested, going through the criminal justice process. Very confusing, very long and drawn out, so we have an advocate that walks with them through that process. So if they have questions, they're readily available for that. And we just have counseling. It's not mental health counseling, it's more peer counseling, but just coming in and being able to speak with somebody who understands what it is that you've been going through. A lot of times people in these relationships are told that they're crazy, that what they think is happening is not really happening. They're very denigrated, so coming in and getting a more objective point of view about what may be going on is one of our biggest resources, I think. We also have shelter services. That's the emergency shelter for people who are need a safe place to go. Even if it's just temporary, just to kind of get a break, we offer that. So try to be as holistic as we can.
Yeah, and talking about the shelter, if someone were to come in and they have kids, are their kids allowed to stay here?
Kids are allowed and they are welcomed. We try to make every accommodation for children. You know, no, a survivor's not going to leave the situation if she has to leave her children. So absolutely, very welcome.
Yes, and I think that's a great point to make because I know from a lot of women that I've seen in my life having to go through domestic violence, something that has brought them to continue to go back to their abuser is because, well, where are my children going to stay? Like, where am I going to find a space where it's enough for us?
Yep. And that kind of ties into the financial aspect of that because it's not just where am I going to go with my kids, but how am I going to support them? What does the rest of their life look like if I take away that kind of stability from at least two people in the house? Unfortunately, children growing up in domestic violence aren't stable to begin with, and it teaches them a cycle of domestic violence that's more comfortable for them than healthy relationships. However, you have to have a roof over your head and food in your stomach before you can think of anything else. So that's what we work on first. It's kind of a triage. Get you safe, get you feeling secure, so you have time and breathing space to look at what you want for the future. When you're in an abusive relationship, you don't have that headspace or physical space to do that.
Right. And talking about domestic violence, this month is directly dedicated straight to this. So I could ask you, what are we doing?
So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and purple is the signatory color of domestic violence. So this month, C.A.R.E. is hosting 2 Lunch and Learn community question and answer sessions. And that's just for anybody in Charlotte County who's wondering about domestic violence, who maybe has a friend that they're concerned about, wants to know how to get involved. So I think by the time this shows, our first one will be over, but we're having one Thursday, October 14th at the Port Charlotte Beach Complex, and then we're having one the next Thursday, October 21st at the Inglewood Annex building off San Casa. We are providing lunch, so we do ask that people RSVP if possible, and they can do that. We'll give you all of our contact information at the end of this. We also have some wonderful community partners who are helping us spread the word. Charlotte County Libraries have a dedicated domestic violence section in their library. Local restaurants have a signature purple drink, so if you go out to a restaurant, ask them. There's a purple drink with a coaster. And then we have Purple Thursday, which is October 21st. So you can show your support just by wearing purple that day. So we're just trying to get the word out. Word that we exist, that we have services, that this is still going on. Domestic Violence Awareness Month was started for people working in this field to connect and celebrate the work that's been done.
Mm-hmm.
So we still do that, but we also want to highlight the work that still needs to be done, because obviously it's still around, unfortunately.
Yes, and I think that's really amazing. I think that's great. So we can see that in C.A.R.E., we do care. We do our best to reach out and give resources to all of those who are in need of them. So here at C.A.R.E., of course, like Miss Alyssa said, we have contact information. You can reach us at www.carefl.org, and that's our website, and our hotline is 941-627-6000.
And just an aside, our hotline is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. It is always available with a live person.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a chat feature on our website. If you're not at a place where you can talk or don't necessarily want to talk on the phone, we do have a chat button on our website that is also has somebody on the other end every day of the year.
Mm-hmm. And you can follow us at our social media. Our social media handle is C.A.R.E. Charlotte County, and we are on Facebook and Instagram, and you can follow us there, share any kind of posts that we have on there, because of course we post whenever we have any kind of events or anything coming up, and I think it's great for us to be able to share those things to our friends and our family who could also use those resources as well. So I'd like to thank FCASV. Thank you for this opportunity, and we'll see you next time.